And welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I have a slightly different configuration than what I've been using for the past, 6 to 7 weeks I've been living here. It's October, so I've been living here for, excuse me while I adjust the microphone and not address the camera. 2 months, two and some change months. I also don't know what to do. This is the sound machine. Good thing we're not in Miami. I mean, if we were in Miami, I'd know what to do with it. That's just the type of comedy you'll get here on the Constitutionals podcast, episode 179. This is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. I'm just vamping because I only have 4 stories today. 4 is only 4. What's been going on? This is I would say a late record. The day is supposed to come out. It's recording the date of Friday, October 23rd, 2020. So close to an election. So close to the election. The election of our lifetimes. It'll change everything. Either America's super racist, or they're only slightly racist and they can go back into hiding. America. What's been going on? I have one of my plants is dying a very slow death. It has been recently pruned by a friend of mine. Is that what they call it? Prune? Took the dead leaves off, and then I've been looking up how to take care of it, and I've been doing all the things, but I think it's because of the temperature. I'm on the top floor of this apartment, and the air has to kick on a lot more because heat rises, and temperature fluctuations, AC fluctuations, apparently specifically kill this plant. It's a dragon tree. It's a small one though. God forbid I bought a big one. Like, I would be so sad if I just saw a big plant die. But I mean, this small one is a nice little plant. It's over there. I'm looking at it right now on my my counter, my kitchen counter, and I feel so bad that it's dying. And man, it just doesn't need a lot of water. It doesn't need a lot of direct sunlight, but it's so thin and frail, and it's just so sad. And then also, the complex took the recycling away because people were just throwing crap on top of the at the bins. Basically, they weren't even like putting them in, or they were stacking stuff too high, and then they got 2 just regular recycling bins. However, I recently learned that the city of Atlanta doesn't recycle glass bottles because it's not single stream, the city of Atlanta. And so when it gets on the conveyor belt, it gets the people's hands too bloodied because the glass breaks, obviously, and then they just throw it away. That sucks. I was told that by a city employee. So what I am doing is I have to go to and then because of the pandemic, my local recycling place was closed for a little bit, and then they opened up to appointment only, so I had to set up an appointment for that. So I'm finally going, but there is a 2 camera left. Right? Camera left. There's a giant pile of just recyclables. It's I got 2 Casper pillows several weeks ago, which I got to tell you, you're going to want to spend $20 on a pillow, like on a single pillow. No. Drop the money on a good pillow. Casper pillow. Lisa's got pillows. Just spend the $60 to $80 on a nice pillow. I got those on sale for $58 at Target. So I got 2. But just go ahead, spend the money. Buy yourself a decent mattress. You know, a Casper, a Lisa, a Purple, any one of those mattresses. Don't spend $200 because I have a very crappy mattress that I've had since college. And I think my first week, I walked over my bed and I stepped in the middle of it, and it broke several of the springs. And so there's now just a huge dip. And it's been like that since my senior year of college. So it's been like 7 years. No, wait. What year did I graduate? Oh, my God. It's been like 6 years. Wow. It's been like 6 years of just this dip in the middle of. Oh wait, yeah, because I got it in 2014. Yeah, it's been 7 years of just me just sleeping on this dip. So one day I'll be able to afford a Lisa mattress, and that's what I want. A Lisa mattress. If they want to sponsor this podcast, I'll let them. I'll let you. I'll give you the privilege. Or Casper, I'll give you the privilege. I just need something to go with those pillows. Because it's weird putting your head down on something that feels so good, and then the rest of your body is laying on just this very thin, cracker thin, just nasty mattress. It's not nasty. I'm a clean guy, but the things that happen on the mattress. I made my therapist laugh. I don't think this breaks any type of doctor-patient rule, but I made my therapist laugh by saying I just needed to go on a date to clean out the cobwebs. I meant that sexually. We have fun. I just paid somebody to laugh at my joke. All right, let's get the show on the road. Speaking of the road, this comes from Variety, written by Todd Spangler. WarnerMedia hits the road. New ride video streaming service launches in AT&T connected vehicles. So vehicles, and I only knew this within the past couple of years, now come with LTE connections, which is cool, but that's another bill to pay on top of everything. However, these LTE connections, and I assume at some point there's going to be 5G connections built in, you can, instead of having to worry about connecting your phone or connecting some other internet-enabled device, your phone will connect up to this hotspot that's in the car, and it'll give you a decent connection wherever you are. I think that's how it works. I've always wanted one, but whatever. And then the car I bought recently doesn't have it. So I don't think the car maker I have has it. Whatever, it's a hybrid. It's fine. So now we've got AT&T is offering you a free, what's it called? Wi-Fi hotspot streaming service. Now you can only access this inside your car. So if you're one of those people if you have kids or something, I think this would be a good thing. Or if you just if you like to go on road trips all the time, I think this would be a wonderful thing. I don't want to crap on this idea because I do think it's interesting, even though I think it is extremely superfluous. That might be the title of this episode, Extremely Superfluous. Some might say that is, how do you spell superfluous? That is how my life is. Extremely superfluous. I should just, whatever. Content in WarnerMedia Ride is what it's called. Includes news and sports programming from Bleacher Report, Boomerang, Cartoon Network, CNN, TBS, TNT, and other brands. The service will be available for free to U.S. owners of 27 vehicle brands who have AT&T unlimited data connected car plans. Passengers can download the WarnerMedia Ride app on Apple's App Store or Google Play. All right, well. At some point, oh my gosh, AT&T in 2021 plans to offer the full HBO Max content library of around 10,000 hours of video programming as part of a new bundle of connectivity and content for connected car plan subscribers. That's the thing. Okay, so before we continue, what's the point? Spangler writes, AT&T wants to use the WarnerMedia content as a carrot to sign up connected car customers, while WarnerMedia sees the potential to reach a new captive audience. So they're only going to offer select shows. You're only going to get, some Looney Tunes, not all Looney Tunes. You're going to get maybe a season of the last OG, but not all of it. Not the other 2 seasons that are out thus far. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know how practical it is. Say you go camping, say you're just on a road trip, you're taking a pit stop. In those scenarios, it works. But if you're somebody who happens to own one of the car brands that they're talking about, and it's Acura, Alfa Romeo, Jesus, Chad. Audi, BMW. So, is there, my car is not on there. Okay, interesting. Well, my car's a Japanese car, so you know those people. I don't know. Whatever racist thing I was going to say. I'm not racist. Whatever, So it's a good selection of cars, but if you live in the city like I do, what good does this do you? You know, unless you're going somewhere all the time where you need that type of thing. What good does this do for somebody like you? And I mean, but again, good idea, great idea. It's such a niche product, and they also have a thing called that's already out, WarnerMedia Audio, which is 70 podcasts and hundreds of hours of audio, including live audio simulcasts from CNN and other Warner Media news networks. That sounds a lot like SiriusXM. At what point am I going to go, you know what? I don't want to listen. I got these podcasts downloaded to my phone. I got my SiriusXM. I've got 40 channels already preloaded into my in my favorites. But I don't want to listen to any of that. I want to go listen to Warner Media Audio. It's cool. I do think it's a nice idea. But who's gonna? If I have Verizon Wireless, if I have I have Google Fi. I have Google Fi and I have Verizon for the iPad. So this means nothing in the long run for people who. But again, I think either the AT&T connection comes with cars automatically, and maybe like a year or two, you get like a year or two service, and then after the fact you have to pay, or it doesn't, and you have to pay $15 a month for that. But whatever, nice idea. We'll see how the execution is. Let's move along before the time runs out. This comes from AV Club, written by Britt Hayes. Before Glow was canceled, Sunita Mani and her co-stars sent a letter to Netflix asking for better representation. So Glow was canceled. And Glow is the wrestling show about, it's a show about women wrestling in the 80s, based on a very true phenomenon. I don't want to say that. Excuse me, iPad, we're making noise. Based on a very real thing that happened. But this is like a show that, just upends that. And it's a really wonderful show with women first and everything. However, there's a lot of stereotyping in the show, and they don't do anything to correct it. Though the characters do go, hey, this is racist, but they don't do anything to further the conversation about that stuff. And the people of color in the show, including Monty, Sindel Noel, Brittany Young, Kia Stevens, Ellen Wong, and Shakira Barrera, they all sent a letter to Netflix saying, "Hey, this is not good. You should check it out on Monty's Instagram account." Because she posted it right before Netflix said we're not bringing the show back, even though they already said they were bringing it back. But they blamed them canceling the fourth season on, which was already going to be the final season, but the fourth season on, COVID related stuff. What ABC and Netflix has used for other shows just within the past couple of weeks. But the letter, God, AV Club, these pop-ups. Letter says that no people of color in the season 4 writers' room, and states that Glow has been marketed as a diverse ensemble, but for all of us diverse cast members, it has never lived up to the ideals. Since season 1, they've been playing stereotypes and all that stuff, then checking boxes. But unfortunately, we feel that the promise of the show has not been fulfilled. And it's disappointing to see Netflix, renege on this. And I think there's a petition going around for a movie for Glow, but we'll see what comes of it. If you can give, multiple seasons of Flaked, Will Arnett's Flaked a try, and multiple seasons of Arrested Development, then you can definitely give one final season, or at least, to the very least, one movie to Glow. It's insane that Netflix, puts so much money on crappy shows like Insatiable. Is that what it's called? Or yeah, the one where Debbie Mann, is that her name? Debbie Ryan plays a queen or something like that. I don't know. And The Crown and all these other shows, which I'm not saying The Crown is crappy, but you put all that money on that, the emphasis on that, and then where you really need it, there's no representation in this show for women of color, or anybody LGBTQIA. So I mean, it just doesn't. You're not standing for anything if you. I don't know, whatever. Whatever. Netflix. Netflix isn't. I mean, everybody's just So gung-ho about this thing. This Netflix thing. It's never going to get off the ground. Stock's already slumped. Listen, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about more stuff. Here we go. Going to break right now. Okay. It's going And we're back to the show. Every single week, I sit down and I say the words, coming back from break, and I don't even have the headphones in. And now here we are with me putting about 40 minutes of silence in between that last sentence and this one. We're back from the show. You know, my other plants are doing fine. I have a snake plant-esque one that's also on the counter next to the whatchamacallit. And I've moved this dragon plant all around the apartment. I moved it to the bathroom to get some moisture when I take a shower. I moved it into the kitchen. I moved it slightly out of the kitchen on the counter. I moved it next to the window. I put it outside. It's just, yeah. If you can hear who I believe it is, 516, I believe might be either the maintenance people or the these package delivery people just rolling their carts outside. Then you have good ears. Let's see what else I have. I have a yucca cane plant in the bedroom. It's doing well. Recently pruned some of its dead leaves, and then I've got 2 other plants whose names I don't know, but they're doing just fine. Just fine. Okay, let's get to this. This is something I did not want to talk about for the rest of the year, but here we are. Quibi is dead. Confirmed dead. It is dead. And Jeffrey Katzenberg and has been just talking all about it for the past week. This is going to be next week's episode of News Time, which, if you don't know, it's our daily show. It's the version. It's C+ Comedy's daily show, and I knew this was going to happen this year, based on the telltale signs of the launch. But you know, I'm always behind a streaming service, a video streaming service for some reason, especially a big one like this, because I know they spent 4 years and, you know, a couple billion on it, 1.75 billion in funding. Yeah. So I know they spent, you know, literally a couple billion, and it is 6 months after launch. They failed to find a buyer, according to a new report. This comes from the Wall Street Journal, but as told by Variety, written by Todd Spangler. Quibi shutting down for good. Katzenberg called investors Wednesday to tell them that Quibi was folding. They got funding from Disney, NBC Universal, WarnerMedia, and a slew of others. Sources told Variety that Quibi, which has about 200 employees, has set an all-hands internal meeting for 6 p.m. a couple days ago. Yikes. Katzenberg, according to the report Tuesday by The Information, had, quote, told people in the industry that he may have to shut down the company. God, that sucks. They had about 500,000 paying customers. And there are some things that are happening. The Information reported earlier this month the 500,000. Katzenberg was also struck out in his attempt to sell Quibi's programming rights to companies including NBC Universal and Facebook, who were notoriously would buy anything. Per The Information story this week, NBCU was, quote, put off by the fact that Quibi doesn't own many of the shows it puts on its platform. Well, and that's a thing that I mentioned earlier, I think when I reported on Quibi for News Time, is that they have a 2-year exclusivity agreement, and then the creator can take the show that will still be on Quibi in its Quibi form, but they can take it to whatever platform they'd like it in whatever format they'd like it. So there's like a lot of cool stuff where you own the show. That's a really cool idea. It just wasn't implemented well. Nobody was going to pay past that free 3-month period, the free 90 days we got. Quibi doesn't own any of the big budget premium content for which it shelled out upwards of $100,000 per minute. That includes the Emmy winning, I think, hashtag free Rayshawn. I think that was Emmy winning. And then some other Emmy nominated stuff, like I think Chrissy Teigen's show was Emmy nominated. Just a bunch of, the Most Dangerous Game was nominated. And that's being shopped elsewhere with Christoph Waltz, and Liam Hemsworth. That's being shopped elsewhere. They literally just this week, I think the same day that this story broke, they launched an Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and an Android TV app. I mean, it just goes to show that if you don't, launching during a pandemic, yes, obviously that's the bad choice. But launching only on the phones during a pandemic, yes, again, bad choice. But also stating early on that you're never, ever, ever going to have apps outside of the phone. That's the real bad choice. If you, like, imagine if you could only get Netflix via your phone. Nobody would watch it. But you can get it, well, I should say Hulu, because Hulu is on Switch. Hulu's on Switch, Netflix is not. I also just deleted Hulu off of my Switch because I got a phone, I got an iPad, I got a laptop. If I was on the go, I would have, realistically, at least 2 out of 3 of those things. So, yeah. Okay. Any Hoosers. Even after I just got a text that I don't want to answer. Only I know about this. Even after Quibi's initial subscriber numbers came in lower than its ambitious forecast, Katzenberg professed to remain bullish on Quibi's prospects. They were ready. They were ready because they were going to launch regardless. But it's $5 for ads and $8 for no ads. This is, and I'm going to reiterate this time and again. If they had launched with a real partner, if they had gone to Apple, if they'd gone to YouTube, and which I know YouTube has gotten out of the premium television game period, the television game period. But if they'd gone to one of those partners and said, hey, look, we got this money from other people. Can we go in? Do you want to come in with this? And so we can put it on your platform and we don't have to worry about having a dedicated thing. I understand that they want people to, turn it from vertical to horizontal, but it just doesn't make sense. Nobody, I think restricting yourself maybe 5 years ago would have been fine, but even then it would have been difficult. Platforms like Verizon's Go 90, that dissipated. And then even CISO, even though that was technically a television platform, it still didn't work because I don't even know why it didn't work. I can't even tell you why it didn't work. But for some reason, things like, I think it's because NBC wasn't, speaking of bullishness from Katzenberg, NBC wasn't very knowledgeable about how to run an internet streaming, a video streaming platform, but now they are, and that's why Peacock that's why it's A, free, and B, cheap, but also that's why it's competent in what it's doing. The same thing goes for Apple TV, Apple TV Plus. Even if Apple TV Plus is restricted to, well, now it's on Samsung TVs, but even if it is restricted to just Apple products, it's still got some good stuff on it. Everybody, it's a shame because everybody thinks they can be Netflix, and if you go in with that mentality, you're not going to be anything. And I'm not saying that if you're a basketball player, don't go in thinking you're LeBron James. Yeah, that could help, or you're Michael Jordan. Yeah, that could help, or Kobe. That could help, but be your own thing. Use them as inspiration. Go, I see what Reed Hastings and the rest of them did over at Netflix. God, I love that. I love that strategy. We can implement those ideas, but also have our own. And it doesn't make sense for you to be a streaming competitor and launching only on phones and thinking, yeah, young people 18 to 34 are going to enjoy on their commutes or at home or on the toilet, and they're never going to want to watch stuff off of their phone. Just because a Galaxy Note 20 is 7 inches or iPhone 12 Pro is 6.5 inches doesn't mean I want to sit there and look at that thing all the time. I have Apple TV Plus for a year. I can't even find the time to watch Ted Lasso. I finished it last week, but I can't even find the time to watch it on this stupid thing. God. All right, let's go. Let's move along. R.I.P. to Quibi. I'll do a news time episode about it next week. This final thing comes from the Deadline. It comes from Deadline, written by Peter White, my cousin apparently. Late night laughs. Oh, I got breaking news from Deadline. Quibi stuff. Late night laughs. Conan's Jeff Ross, who's the big producer over there, on TBS show's Future, and then another part of the headline that doesn't deal with that. Basically, I saw this late last week, and I thought it was very interesting. At some point, Conan's going to leave late night, and there's other avenues for him to venture down. His contract with TBS ends in 2022, and after that, his options are open because now he's more of a producer, he's more of a podcast host than anything. And if you don't know, Conan, Jesus, like every single. Like this season's been bad, but like every season of the Conan show, he goes on hiatus. That show goes on hiatus for like a month at a time, and it like weeks. It sucks. Like they literally did. They skipped August. They did a hiatus in August, and then they came back in September, and they've been on hiatus all of October. And it's God. It just. And I understand. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's and they're not in their regular studio, but man. It is tough to like keep up with that because everybody else is Desus and Mero are doing it from home, and Seth is able to do it, and Kimmel and Colbert and everybody else is doing it, but so Jeff Ross is basically in this interview in this piece. He questioned the future of the genre and believes that late night shows are now, quote, kind of dinosaurs in the business. Yeah, if you don't notice, people do, late night hosts don't really do the traditional stand up in front. Even let's consider the pandemic. There's not really this, stand up in front of an audience and do the monologue thing. Kimmel's doing it, but Seth is doing it, but it's not. It's all different now. We have Desus and Mero who are just taking down the news for 14 minutes and then having a 7-minute conversation with somebody. You got John Oliver who's doing a 8-minute story before he does a 20-minute story. Sam B does 3 7-minute stories. So it's different for every show. And it's not, and it's a format that is kind of being aged out. I was watching Carson today on Peacock at work, and because it was Friday, I have nothing to do. I was watching some Carson, and he was doing the monologue, and it was just so loose, and the jokes weren't playing. This is what Carson usually does. If the jokes don't play, then he'll either blame the audience or he'll blame the joke, or like if the audience will, somebody in the audience will shout a punchline before him, and it feels like there's a rapport between him and the audience. But if you look at pre-pandemic hosts, it just seemed kind of, I'm telling a joke, you clap, and then I'm going to tell another joke. It just seemed manufactured. So Conan and Conan Show is renewed through 2022. And I think there's going to be something different at some point. I really do. I think, they did cut it down to half an hour, and I don't think that. This is my understanding of just watching the show and getting a feel for how it's going. I don't think that the half-hour move reignited a passion for late night in Conan. That is just what I'm getting, because the half-hour move was him getting moving that because he was getting bored doing the hour thing, but now I don't think that helped. But he's been doing it a long time. He's been doing it 26 years, as long as I've been alive. So, oh no, how old am I? Am I 27? Oh boy. All right. Well, who cares? I've been 26 for 2 years, apparently. They're going to. This is from Jeff Ross. What he's saying: our deal with Turner or WarnerMedia isn't up for another couple of years. We know that we're going to be doing something different on a different type of platform because I mean TBS and these linear cable networks, especially, are just like death. There's no circulation, so you can't do it forever. And he's ready for a change. We've got a lot of stuff going on between the podcast and the show and digital business. I can just see the show just leaving. I can just see him stopping the show at some point. And Conan has said that podcasts are fun. He enjoys podcasting, and they've been shooting from Largo, and it's been getting a little bit more fun. And it looks like for Conan, it looks like it's been getting a little bit more fun. But man, they've been doing this for so long, and late night's more about how many YouTube views you can get. And right now, Conan's not getting a lot. Same thing for James Corden. James Corden is not getting a lot of YouTube views. But then, you have Seth Meyers, who's a Closer Look segments get 1 million, minimum. And then same thing for Colbert's monologues, 1 million minimum. And then Fallon, all Fallon has to do is, some type of stunt, and he gets 500,000 minimum. Have Blackpink on for Jimmy Kimmel Live, have BTS on for Fallon, so late night's an aged beast, but it's got, I think it's a part of the old guard that can survive. It just needs to be updated a little bit. The same thing goes for Letterman, because Letterman wasn't online, Ferguson wasn't online, but then when Conan, Seth, and Colbert and all these guys started, they had to go online and get viral. All right, we gotta end this. If you want to see this show, more of the show, head over to YouTube. Oh nope, cpluscomedy.com/cpluscomedy.com, where you can see interviews with your favorite comedians. You want to see a video version of the show? YouTube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see as well our news show, weekly news show, News Time. We take one story, we dive right into it. This week's episode is about, oh God, I can hear the rumbling outside. This week's episode is about restructuring, companies restructuring. Disney, WarnerMedia, Viacom, CBS, they've all had to restructure for one reason or another, so I dig right into that. Follow us on Facebook at nope. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CPlusComedy. Follow us and like us on Facebook. The rest, C Plus Comedy everywhere. Subscribe, rate this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. I'm Chad White, your host. Goodbye. This is it. I gotta go.